So last night I watched 13 Hours, and if you guys haven't seen 13 Hours about the events of Benghazi, I highly recommend you check it out. An absolute amazing movie, looks awesome in 4K Blu-ray. And it had me wanting to play a military-based shooter. So I think to myself, Breakpoint just got a 60 FPS update on PS5. I'm going to download it and check it out because Division 2 looks awesome on the next-gen consoles with the update. Guys, I download it. One of the first things I noticed are the muddiest, ugliest textures you've ever seen in your life on the mountains in the background. So I'm thinking maybe this is like a CPU thing. I'm going to run around the corner, get a close-up. Looks absolutely awful. I don't know what Ubisoft was thinking here. Clearly, it's the Pro version, I'm pretty sure, running on the 5 with the 60 FPS unlocked. It looks absolutely horrible. The anti-aliasing looks terrible. And as you can see, the Division running on Series X and also the PS5, this is Series X footage that you're seeing here. It looks amazing. So I don't understand what they were thinking there, but we've had these next-gen consoles for about 4 months. Clearly, the lack of exclusives on both sides of the fence is really dry right now. So I've just been playing the Division 2, waiting on Returnal to drop, and I can jump on that. But right now, like I said in the last video, if you have to choose one over the other, you can't go wrong. They're both getting enhancements. Overwatch, which I would never play, just got 120 FPS enhancement patch clear across the board, even on the S, and I think that's pretty awesome. FPS Boost on the Series X is looking awesome. I've seen Far Cry 4 running 60 FPS. Now, granted, it's 900p, I believe, auto HDR, and I know the Series X can run that game with auto HDR much higher than 900p at 60, so I'd like to see this improve. I think that is yet another awesome feature coming to these systems, so definitely excited to see what they can do with that. So I'd like to end, this is definitely going to be a short episode of Gotti's Corner, so I'd like to end with a story about the past, or just a story in general. And kids these days, especially my kids, and I know a lot of your kids as well, don't realize how good they actually have it. Multiple consoles, my kids have a Switch, an Xbox, 50-inch TV. My youngest son plays on a, I believe, 120 hertz monitor with a better keyboard and mouse than what I have. They just don't understand how well they have it. So what I'm leading into is, when I was a kid, I can remember the NES dropped, and I would go to Target with my mom and just beg for an NES. And back then, my mom didn't have the means to make that happen, but my dad did. So I would hound my dad, call him, Dad, I want this video game system. At the time, I'm on my Atari 2600 that I got from my grandfather. You guys that have been with me for a while know that he owned an electronics store, so I had access to that. And I had a 10-inch black and white TV in my bedroom. So long story short, I'm driving Dad crazy. I want this Nintendo, and I come home from school one day. I walk in my bedroom, and my mom had went to Target, grabbed the one with the zapper. I didn't get the, what was his name? Rob the Robot, I believe. I didn't get him. I wish I did. But I was happy nonetheless with what I had. She had Mario up and running, and I played that thing to, oh my God. I can still remember very vividly how happy I was. My buddy across the way, Nathan Patrick, he had an NES, tons of games. I would spend the night with him, and we would just stay up all night gaming, playing these different games. Zelda, Kung Fu, what else did we play? Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, obviously. I was pretty much the only one out of all of our friends that could beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out back in the day. And it was just super cool. You know, back then renting games clearly was a huge deal. And I can remember calling my mom at work and driving her crazy, begging her to bring me home pro wrestling, stop and rent it. And like I said earlier, moms didn't have a lot of money back then. And I come home from school once again, and there's a copy of pro wrestling sitting there. And I think you got like a one-day rental maybe back then. But I was so amped to get pro wrestling and actually dive into it. But just super good memories, guys. And that's what it's all about. This gaming thing, I see a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people putting up YouTube videos, people that didn't start playing games till later on in life, and I don't think they can really get a full sense of the hobby. Not that they don't enjoy the hobby or respect the hobby, but when you're a gamer like me and you started playing games on the Atari 2600 and now you're seeing things like, Destiny, like what you see here running on the Series X, PC gaming, which is my go-to platform. It's just an awesome thing to see the evolution of games in general. And it's a great thing. If I could get my hands on a GPU, it would be even better. But anyway, it's just awesome to see how the hobby is evolved, and I'm curious to see what is going to happen with games in the future. I'm curious to see what these new systems have to offer once these games stop with the cross-gen stuff, the cross-platform stuff. I want to see games developed solely for the new consoles. That's why I'm so amped for Returnal, because as far as I know, it's not coming to PS4. So anyway, guys, that's all I got. There's really nothing to talk about right now. You got the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda finally being sealed, and I'll be super curious to see what actually stays as exclusives for Xbox and PC. I would keep my expectations tapered if I were you guys, because you got to remember that whatever decision they make has to make good business sense, and Microsoft, as we know, are not going to miss out on making as much cash as they possibly can. So that's all I got for you on this episode of Gotti's Bootleg Corner. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Share with me some of your stories as a kid with gaming, and I'm gonna let you guys go. Chime off in the comments. Gotti360.